Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on News 360 live from Adisawe here in Accra. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Crosby Annan, and these are our top stories tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu says OSP should have explored using video conferencing facility to interrogate former Finance Minister Ofori Atta.
In the bulletin tonight, former Member of Parliament for Kumbongu Ras Mubarak calls for the closure or downgrading of 22 Ghanaian embassies and diplomatic missions abroad.
Malnutrition surges in Ghana's capital as urban children go hungry despite food availability and raising awareness efforts.
Much later in international news, the first meeting of the China-US Economic and Trade Consultation Mechanism to be held during Chinese Vice Premier visit to the UK between June 8 and June 13. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Please do well to like our page and join our online family. Let's begin the bulletin from here, shall we?
We're starting off with health because Ghana is set to receive Mpox vaccines in the country to complement interventions in managing the disease outbreak. Director for Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedu-Bekwin, during a virtual media engagement, noted that the service is currently in talks with the World Health Organization and the Africa CDC.
Currently, Ghana has recorded 45 cases of Mpox in 9 regions, with 2 on admission. 10 out of the cases are children, while the dominance of the disease remains the Greater Accra, Western North and Western regions. Vaccination is one of the interventions in managing the Mpox outbreak. However, a country must first establish its at-risk groups and the trend of infection, which currently qualifies Ghana to receive some vaccines. According to the Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, there is evidence that the disease, which is normally transmitted from animal to human, is now being transmitted from human to human in the country, hence the need for vaccines.
I remember the last outbreak that we had. Though we had 120 cases, we struggled to clearly establish at-risk group. If you don't get a clear at-risk group, then your intervention may not be effective. So for this outbreak, we are as far as possible, we are investigating to be very established that this is the at-risk group, and then we engage them to make sure that it's done. So I'll say it's work in progress. We are engaging WHO and Africa CDC so that we get the vaccines. Somewhere last year, Ghana didn't have any established human-to-human transmission, so we did not qualify. Now that we are having human-to-human transmission, the idea is that we need to be able to identify the clear at-risk group who benefit from the vaccine.
Several African countries are administering Mpox vaccines in response to the ongoing outbreak. The 9 most affected countries receiving majority of the vaccine doses are the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Liberia, South Africa, Rwanda, Central African Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda, Nigeria, and Kenya.
Let's get a little more education on this and connect with Dr. Frank Dodu. He is the Chief Superintendent of Police and he is also the Head of Public Health at the Police Hospital. Good evening, Doc, and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Hello, good evening. Please, can I be heard?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Doc, we know that viruses transmit from animals to humans. But with Mpox, we are told that it can also be transmitted from human to human. Can you give us a little more education on this?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. So, indeed, Mpox is a zoonotic condition which transmits from animals to humans. But in the human-to-human interactions, we also have that transmission happening. And so we have always mentioned that the means of transmission in the case of humans is mainly contact. So prolonged contact to body fluids of infected persons becomes a viable source of transmission amongst humans. And really, that's what happens. And this is the reason why we've had to map up strategies to ensure that there is less of that human-to-human transmission, and then to reduce the burden of the disease among the human populace.
Doc, so can mpox be transmitted sexually?
Yes, it can. And it's mainly because of the human-to-human contact that happens during the sexual intercourse. So definitely it can be transmitted through sexual intercourse.
Well, we also understand that talks are ongoing for the country to have some vaccines. How urgent do we need this?
So if you remember what happened during COVID, before the vaccines, our mainstay of control was to ensure there was isolation of infected persons. When we got the vaccines, which were able to prevent severe conditions, we were able to relax the rules for isolation and then even the need to lock down. So indeed, when you have the vaccines, the expectation is that it's going to reduce the disease burden. It's going to reduce the transmission from person to person. And it is also, depending on what the literature will say about these vaccines, it may be that even if you got an infection, you're not going to have a full-blown manifestation of the virus in our bodies. Because remember that this particular condition, the main issue we have is the disfigurement this virus causes to the body. And then to some extent, some people also have severe pain all over their bodies. Just a few of the victims may fall prey by way of death. Okay, so it's not, as far as what we call case fatality is concerned, it's not a very high rank on the case fatality rankings, but it's more of the symptomatic manifestation of the infection that becomes a big burden to us. And so, yes, the vaccines will be very helpful to us as a means of controlling the infection among the human population.
Before you take leave of us, Doc, what extra precautionary measures would you recommend for all of us and those watching us as well?
So we would want to advise the general population, sometimes for most of us, if we don't see blood, if we don't see death, any of the education that we do may not really resonate with us. But I'm sure that with constant reminder and advocacy and the publicity that we put on it, and thank you to media stations like yours, we are able to bring home the message that we don't have to wait till it gets out of hand. So everybody will have to come on board. The interventions and recommendations we are making are not too difficult if we remember what we did for COVID. So we are asking that we should, as much as possible, if we can, not be too much close to each other in crowded or congested places. We should allow for some distancing, and we should control the mode of our cultural ways of handshaking and showing those gestures of knowing each other, social norms. If we can, let's go back to the days where we may have to give a fisted blow to each other instead of handshaking and hugging. If we can, we should do well that when anybody is manifesting signs and symptoms that we have always said, which would include high temperature, general body weakness, and then the rash, we should quickly rush to the hospital. And because now we are doing a lot of home and self-isolation, we have to encourage any of such people who are self-isolating to be able to do it effectively. All of these will help us reduce the disease burden among us. So we would still drum home the point. And of course, the very simple one of having to wash our hands as oftentimes as possible with soap and running water, we would encourage that we do that as much as possible. And even in this instance too, if you can put on your nose mask, try and do it. It's not one of the main interventions to control, but it is helpful. So all of these come together to help us reduce the disease burden amongst us. And we encourage us all to be on board.
Thank you so much for the advice and the education tonight. Dr. Frank Dodu is head of public health at the police hospital.
Well, still on some health-related matters, the National Association of Registered Midwives Ghana, it has criticized the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association for insisting on industrial action without exhausting the laid-down procedures for a resolution. Members of the association, they're on strike over the government's failure to implement a collective agreement signed in 2024. Now, the president of the National Association of Registered Midwives Ghana, Atta, told Kemini Amano in a soon-to-air episode of Hot Issues that the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, it continues to bully unions that have refused to lay down their tools.
When the strike was declared, the minister called us on the 30th of May. Then we went to the ministry, but something also happened there.
What happened?
When we got there, we were ushered into the ground floor hall. So we were waiting for the minister. And they came and gave an excuse that she's in Parliament, but she'll be with us soon. So our group, the 4 groups, with I think some tutors were seated there, but we didn't see the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives. So we sat there till 4 p.m. when the minister came and entered the hall and then apologized to us and said she was going up to come. Like I'm saying, there are some of the things at times, but we have to bring out the truth of the matter. Mm-hmm. So the minister went up. So we're waiting. 5 something, the minister didn't come down. We didn't see him. So I went up. I personally went up. Then I just met one of the guys. Then I asked, minister said she was coming down soon. We were here 2 p.m. We are still here. We are even hungry. The guy said, Madam, your people say they won't sit with you.
Who are your people who won't sit with you?
Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Say they will not sit with the 4 union. So they are with the minister. And I said, why? Then the guy laughed and said, they said you don't have bargaining certificate. They are holders of the bargaining certificate, so they will take the decision.
It's the kind of crisis you would expect in war zones, refugee camps, or drought-stricken villages. Ghana's buzzing capital, although alive with restaurants, markets, and grocery aisles packed with food, have children going hungry and lacking certain basic nutrients. Safwa Bwahe goes beneath the surface of what is gradually becoming a national crisis, malnutrition.
A country blessed with fertile lands, vibrant markets, and rich culinary traditions, it is easy to assume every child is well fed. But the reality tells a different story. Across Ghana, from rural villages to urban centers, children are still going hungry, not always from lack of food, but from a lack of the right nutrients. The 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey shows a rise in malnutrition, and poverty isn't the only reason. Many caregivers caught between work and survival simply don't have the means or time to nourish their children properly. Today, malnutrition is no longer just about food. It's about pressure, poor eating habits, and silent struggles unfolding in homes across the country.
For years, malnutrition, especially in cities, seemed to be a fading memory. But the 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey brought a shocking reality to light. Cases of child malnutrition are on the rise once again. Fatuma, a caregiver to little Mohammed, is one of many struggling to understand why their children are looking abnormally thin and weak.
Something suddenly appeared on his skin, like measles, and he became extremely thin, like he was close to dying. There's been a big change since we got to the hospital.
Beatrice, who is a mother to an 11-month-old baby with malnutrition, thought it was a spiritual attack.
My My family said someone cast an evil eye on my baby, causing a spiritual illness. My previous child had a similar illness and made me call his soul.
Medical experts say malnutrition isn't just about food.
Some of the causes of this undernutrition are poverty, cultural beliefs or myths, and then other social determinants. The basic causes will happen when the family or the individual's own inability to feed properly or due to poverty. And then the intermediate ones, when the child is sick, the underlying factors, that one has to do more with our governments.
Salamatu was once a head porter in Accra, but when her 2-year-old daughter became severely malnourished, she gave up the business to sell beads. At her home, Salamatu shared the daily struggle of trying to feed her child, sometimes without essentials like milk or meat.
I gave my child porridge with milk and sometimes without milk due to finances. I can't afford meat when I give it to Yosafi.
Her daughter was diagnosed with severe malnutrition. She received help at the hospital, but even now affording a balanced meal remains a daily battle. Even in the capital, where food options are wide and varied, malnutrition cases persist. At the Princess Mary Louise Children's Hospital alone, 363 cases have been recorded this year, with 83 active cases.
You can see that even in the business districts that we are in, we see quite a number of children. So even along the coast where there's fish, you still can see children who are undernourished because the parents who sell the fish and may not give some to the children because they need money for other things. So sometimes the children are eating, it's not very nutritious, and then they are not gaining weight. But sometimes what they are taking in, the nutritional value is so low.
While poverty remains a factor, experts say malnutrition today is also being fueled by poor eating habits.
We have changed our dietary behavior. We have thrown away the healthy dietary habit that our forefathers used to have. And now we have adopted their eating style. We are now eating anything. Our foods are greasy, our foods are sugary, our foods are salty. That is what the taste buds that we have now developed. And that's what has brought us the third one, which is the non-communicable diseases.
To change the narrative, the Women Media and Change WOMEC and CAPA organizes special training, bringing together journalists from across the country to deepen their knowledge on nutrition-related issues.
Children have died because of malnutrition. Many people have died. Women have died through childbirth, anemia issues and all that. But all these deaths could have been prevented if we had been talking about nutrition. The cheapest way we can even tackle the nutrition, apart from the funding we are looking for, is begin to educate the public.
For the Ghana Health Service, there is more to be done to meet their target.
We want malnutrition to be reduced to the barest minimum, if not zero. And so we are working hard, and we are confident that with time, the alarming rates we are seeing would be reduced. Ghana is doing a very good job. Just that for the targets that we have set for ourselves, we still have more to do to attain those targets.
For mothers like Salamatu and Beatrice, the battle isn't over. It is clear malnutrition doesn't always wear the face of farming. Sometimes it hides in homes and in the cracks of daily life. It's quite obvious the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 must be taken more seriously if ending poverty in all its forms is the sure way to meeting Goal 1. Safwa Boyne, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, once the face of Ghana's economy for 8 years, former Finance Minister Atta is now a fugitive under global watch. Interpol has placed him on its red notice list following a request from the Special Prosecutor's Office. The dramatic turn has ignited legal scrutiny, political debate, and increased calls for transparency. And here is a News Desk report.
Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabeng at a media engagement on 2nd June made this announcement.
The OSP redeclares that Mr. Ofori is a wanted person and a fugitive from justice. His name is hereby re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons. The OSP will take all necessary legal steps to secure Mr. Ofori's return to the jurisdiction and to answer to the criminal inquiries against him.
3 days later, on June 5, 2025, the former finance minister, Ken Ofori Atta, was officially placed on Interpol's Red Notice list. The notice intensifies international efforts to locate and provisionally arrest the former minister. Ken Ofori Atta is currently believed to be in the United States receiving medical treatment. The 65-year-old is wanted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor on charges of using public office for profit. Speaking on the key points, private legal practitioner Martin Bebu said the seeming lack of cooperation from the former finance minister and his lawyers has been unhelpful.
Your surgery didn't come on. Inform the OSP and see how to maybe come back to Ghana quickly to take care of this business and go back. So this whole thing, not to come into Ghana, not to, give the OSP the needed cooperation, is something that just puts his whole defense in shambles, right? And tells us that there are sinister motives. Yeah, he's not showing good faith. This is common sense. It's good that the OSP has declared him wanted again.
He added that the OSP also has questions to answer as to why it failed to utilize the Mutual Legal Assistance Act 807 of 2010.
OSP 2, we need him to answer some questions. I've raised it before. You see that under the Mutual Legal Assistance Act, Act 807, 2010, that one is for criminal cases. So if you need help, the person is outside Ghana, you go through our Attorney General, then our Attorney General will write to the U.S. government. We should have also used a bit of that time from the February to June, you see, so that we could have reached out. So speaking plainly, for me, I'm not altogether happy with Mr. Jabin that he didn't use the video conferencing facilities.
But the Director of Strategy and Communication at the Office of the Special Prosecutor said his outfit wants the embattled Finance Minister, Ken Ofori Atta, to appear before them in person.
As we speak, Mr. Ofori Atta has not been arrested by any law enforcement agents. So the suggestion that we could take Mr. Ofori Atta via Zoom may not apply because we cannot arrest a person through Zoom. We cannot take a caution statement from a suspect through Zoom because the only time you can take a caution statement is when the person has been placed under arrest properly, so-called.
Samedakun added that a Zoom appearance is not ideal for taking a caution statement from suspects.
Let me also address the little issue about trying absentia. If you study our Constitution very well, Article 19.3 details how trying absentia should happen. And the conditions are about two. It says that when a person, an accused, when we say an accused, it means that you have been arrested, charged, has a disruptive behavior, such that placing him before the court will disrupt proceedings. Or if the person, having been charged, that is, the accused, being placed before court, elects not to come to court at all.
Majority Chief Whip and MP for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekbo, speaking on the key points, said the OSP could have proceeded with the case even without the presence of the former finance minister.
The other option available is that you can actually proceed against a suspect, then making a prima facie determination without even seeing the suspect, based on the facts and the evidence. Charging the suspect, preparing a charge sheet, and filing the charge sheet in court. Other procedures provided under Act 30 would kick in. A warrant of arrest will be issued, directed at police officers or a certain police officer or certain police officers to effect arrest of the accused person.
For private legal practitioner Christian Malm Hesse, the appearance of the former finance minister before the OSP will not necessarily guarantee his cooperation.
Can it not be the situation that once he has even volunteered that I want to have virtual with you, even though it's not the traditional or the conventional way of interrogation or police interrogating a suspect, but once a warrant has been issued, and we have the Mutual Assistance Act, Section 5 5K, which deals with the issues of such matters through technology, can't OSP through Attorney General and then the security service in the US have Mr. Ofori Atta rolled in, then that virtual meeting would happen.
Former Minister of Finance Kenneth Nana Ofori Atta is being investigated by the OSP over 5 major issues during his tenure under President Akufo-Addo. The cases include petroleum and minerals revenue assurance and the National Cathedral Project.
Moving on, as the farming season begins in the northern part of the country, one critical issue that has persisted for many years is the conflict between farmers and herders. In this report, my colleague Christopher Mwako assesses the impact of these conflicts and explores avenues to ensure peaceful collaborations between the two groups.
It is 8 a.m. and Dauda Abdullahi, a Fulani herdsman, is preparing to take his cattle out to graze. But while this is a daily routine, his fear is even more intense as one mistake of his animals entering a farm could cause him the beating of his life or even an end to his life.
Yanzu abin da yake damuna ne zuwa daji na.
There are farms all over. It is difficult to get to the bush for the cattle to graze. This is a very big concern and worry to us. Abdullah recounted how he was nearly lynched by a farmer some years back when his cattle entered a farm.
I
entered someone's farm once, and though we reached an agreement for compensation, I received some beatings. He called for the demarcation of lands for cattle grazing. I think we should be giving some lands purposely for grazing by the animals. That will solve the herder-farmer conflict. Attacks on herders and farmers has become a complex issue, often rooted in competition for resources like land and water. Seasonal migration by some herders who end up encroaching on farmlands while in search of grazing land has led to crop damages and tensions with farmers. In recent past, both humans and animals have died following attacks on both parties. Secretary of the Fulbi community in the East Gonja municipality, Abdullahi Seidu Diku, is concerned about the attacks of locals on the Fulbi community each time cattle stray into a farm.
Usually, they burn the houses around the communities all. Meanwhile, it's only one person who went and caused that problem. These communities all, we have criminals all over. But as for Fulanis, if one person does something, then it affects all of us. So that one is a big challenge to us. We are pleading on the authorities, they should check on that, how they will solve it for us.
A research conducted by Kojinta Ghana and the Ace Peace Project, funded by the European Union on FarmerHerder Conflict, revealed that these conflicts have led to a large increase in cattle rustling, money laundering, kidnapping, amongst others. At a stakeholder engagement forum to discuss the challenges of farmers and herders in the Savannah region, Country Director of Kojinta Ghana, Reverend Father Clement Apengno, expressed concerns about the situation. He urged traditional authorities and other stakeholders to engage, sensitize, and build capacity to deal with the situation.
To sit down and clearly define how much of your crops will be destroyed before you are entitled to pay for a whole acre. So lay down rules and bylaws and make sure that they apply to all fairly and equally. Then you can forestall some of these problems. Yes, we are saying that not only justice, but whatever bylaws you make sure that they apply to all fairly and equally. And number two, put in place structures and systems that can prevent, for instance, grazing area. This area is for grazing. So if you go and farm there, you are looking for trouble.
ECOWAS Protocol on Transhumans, which was passed in 1998 and reviewed in 2003, allows the free movement of herders under their livestock within the ECOWAS region in search of pasture. proper land management and resource allocations, improved grazing management, security and law enforcement, as well as proper collaboration can address the conflicts. Areas like Tinga and Malwe in the Savannah region have instituted some bylaws already aimed at addressing the conflicts. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Damongo.
We're staying a while longer on this. Let's go to the phone lines now and bring in Imam Sunday Hanafi. He's president of the Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers. Assalamu alaikum, Imam, and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Alaikum assalam. Good evening to each and every one of you and to the listeners. I say Eid al-Mubarak.
Can you tell us what your general assessment of the herder-farmer conflict situation is in Ghana today?
Thank you very much for having me. The situation of the farmer-herder conflict today is not much different from yesterday. However, as we all know, it has been a situation off and on, depending on the time and the situations that causes it to arise. So we still have this farmer-herder conflict, which I think needs to be taken very serious.
Also, we know that the previous Mahama administration initiated a cattle ranching policy. Can you tell us how effective that was?
What I know is that previous governments did what they could do in terms of the system of ranching, but you know, the ranching system is just limited within Afram Plains, and I think it's Afram Plains which is something I am part and parcel of, because I'm the first person who convey my animals to the ranch. So it is only Afram Plains North and Afram Plains South, which because that place is one of the hot spots, and I think that is why those ranches were, you know, established. But looking at the general problem of the farmer-herder conflict, we are all aware that we are yet to be able to design something or get some regulations that will be able to, you know, be a holistic solution to the problem.
Imam, if you watched the report before this interview, our reporter Christopher Mwako spoke to one Abdullah who said that he was nearly beaten one time because his cattle ended up on someone's farm. Can you tell us what some of the biggest challenges cattle farmers face regarding land access and movement in Ghana?
Yeah, you see, I always used to say that where there are, this is not only me, we all know, simply saying that where there are no rules or regulations, there are no offenses. So the movement of cattle must be regulated. We have been advocating for this so many years back. That definitely, I'm the president of the Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers. I'm a livestock farmer as well. But the truth is that the crop does not move. It is the cattle that moves. So until we are able to regulate the movement of animals, both internal and cross-border, it will be very difficult for us to have a holistic solution to this problem. So a lot has been done where people go in, we look at dialoguing, people go in to look at how we're gonna, you know, talk to people, sensitization. A lot has been done, but we've not been able to get the results because it is done at the local level where a team of people from the Council of Chiefs and wherever will come together and then set up their own committees. And, you know, they will be trying, but without the full support of the government and a committee that has been established by the government or has been supported by the government, it becomes very difficult for us to be able to, because the farmer is on his farm. The livestock farmer want to move. They share the same common land. the same landowner, I mean the chief, who gave the land to the crop farmer and then got his, a certain benefit, is the same chief who gave again to the livestock farmer. So you find out that the same territory has been given to the two persons, and they are all doing different, all this into livestock farming, this is into cropping. So definitely there will be hula balloons, there will be a lot of problems. And this is not limited to Ghana alone. This is cut across the entire sub-Saharan Africa. And I heard you mentioning about the ECOWAS protocol on transhumance, which we are all aware of the ECOWAS protocol on transhumance. ECOWAS protocol on transhumance is one of the powerful protocols, powerful tools that could be used, both external transhumans who come during drought season and internal. So it is a time that we just go to the district levels, as we have been advocating at the district level. The government should try as much as possible to set up. I mean, there is a committee already. We have the committee, Ghana Cattle Ranching and Transhumance Committee. This committee started at the era of, I think, the previous governments. All of them did what they could do. But this committee cannot only hang at the national level and fulfill the mandate until it is extended to the regional, replicated at the district levels, and the mandate of the committee at the district levels, because that is where the issue is. So I think we are yet to take this issue very serious. If we take it very serious, it will go a long way to help us, because it is the negative aspect of these livestock farmers that we see. That if we go around the corner to also inspect or to be able to understand what are the benefits derived from the livestock industry,
right,
definitely you will see the importance of we coming together to find a holistic solution to this farmer-herder conflict.
Certainly, Imam. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Imam Sunday Hanafi is the president of the Ghana National Association of Farmers.
This is still News 360 live from our studios here at the Sunway Kanda in Accra. We're back with more stories after this break. Please stay with us. President John Dramani Mahama, the former Kumbongu lawmaker, argued that Ghana's fragile economy can no longer support the high cost of maintaining embassies in countries where Ghana has minimal diplomatic or economic engagement.
Former Member of Parliament for Kumbongu, Ras Mubarak, whilst acknowledging the government's efforts in reducing public expenditure, emphasized that more can be done, particularly within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The current Australian, High Commissioner to Ghana, for instance, oversees about 8 countries. Australia, wealthier than Ghana, more advanced than Ghana. They are picking up creative ways of, saving costs in terms of their activities abroad. I don't see why a struggling country like ours, should not cut back on our expenditure within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So this is the first of many suggestions that I want to focus on as far as, helping the, government run the country in a manner that affects our citizens positively.
Ras Mubarak cited countries including Austria, Serbia, Kuwait, Namibia, Trinidad and Tobago, among those where embassies should be scrapped. He proposed that staff from the affected missions be redeployed to embassies where Ghana's national interests are more significant. In his view, with prudent management and strategic decision-making, Ghana can navigate its economic challenges and achieve sustainable development.
If you look at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, everyone who is within the diplomatic space would tell you that diplomacy is very, very expensive. Now, we are paying millions of dollars in rental, in allowances, in vehicle maintenance for, staff of embassies abroad. Some of these embassies are, as far as I'm concerned, quite redundant, and I strongly feel that there's a greater need to scrap about 21 of them.
Now, away from that, Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Dr. Joseph Whittal, says in order to fight corruption, collaborating with corporations would be key. He was speaking at a high-level conference on Ghana's anti-corruption architecture in Accra.
The National Anti-Corruption Action Plan contains the policy and institutional framework for fighting corruption built on the 3-pronged pillars of prevention, investigations, and prosecution. They are our architecture. Our experience as a country has shown over the years that no one institution can ever successfully win the fight against corruption. That no country alone can successfully fight corruption. Again, that country will fail. And that no one regional bloc can successfully fight corruption. It will be a 9-day wonder. There is therefore the need for mutual respect and cooperation domestically, regionally, and internationally at the heart of the anti-corruption fight.
And now the government has pledged to investigate questionable land sales, a persistent challenge that continues to deter foreign direct investment in the Bono East region. The struggle for legitimate land ownership remains a long-standing menace, one that exposes systematic flaws threatening to undermine Ghana's reputation for ease of doing business.
Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Suleiman, expressed concern over how land acquisition challenges, particularly in the Bono East region, continue to hamper efforts to improve business environment and attract foreign investment.
If you take what we call the ease of doing business index, one of the challenges that comes up anytime that is conducted is challenges in acquiring land for investment. And so even if you have foreign direct investors coming in, if they are not assured of land, they will not come in.
He highlighted a major concern, the dubious sale of government land across the country. In response, he said the government is taking decisive action to investigate all land transactions conducted under questionable circumstances.
Some people have sold government land anyhow, everywhere in this country. If there is any dubious sale of land here in the Bono East region, regional minister, the board. Let's investigate them. And for your information, the president is setting up a committee to investigate all lands that were sold under dubious means.
Meanwhile, the Bono East Regional Minister urged newly appointed members of the Lands Commission to obtain and thoroughly study the Lands Commission Act. He stressed the importance of gaining a comprehensive understanding of land issues and promote effective land management at the local level.
The new Land Act 2020 Act 1036 has now become the Bible for the administration and Annan. We therefore recommend that new commission get copies of the new Land Act to study in order to have a better understanding of land issues.
The ongoing difficulties with land acquisition, coupled with government's commitment to addressing past irregularities, underscore the urgent need for transparent and efficient land management system to unlock the full investment potential of the Bono East region and the country at large.
Let's now bring you some sports news with Bileshan after this.
Maybe any Go Stars, I think.
Well, I would tip Asante Kotoko. Ayisha, would you take, which one would you select?
Whoever wins is the one that's
Bring us the details.
Let's begin from the Ghana Premier League. In the next 24 hours, we will witness a new winner of the title. Asante Kotoko, BBN Gold Stars and Nations FC would hope to get favorable results on Sunday. Now here's a report looking at what is at stake by Ayisha Yakubu.
With the title race still wide open and no clear winner confirmed, BBN Gold Stars will be aiming for a decisive victory on the final day, one that could secure them their first ever GPL crown. Their hopes were given a major boost following a crucial away win against Brekum Chelsea on match day 33. Now level on points with Nations FC, who controversially abandoned their match against Basake Holy Stars, the momentum appears to be swinging in Gold Stars' favour. Head coach Frimpong Manso remains focused, declaring that their sole mission this weekend is simple: to win and bring the title home to BBN.
The next game is to win it, the next game, or a league champions. So, and on itself will motivate every player. You don't have to give anybody money.
Asante Kotoko were seen as long shots in the title race, especially after a poor run of results early on. But the arrival of interim coach Karim Zito breathed new life into the Porcupines, with a key win over Ediana reigniting their title hopes.
Now, with just one game remaining and Kotoko trailing leaders BBNE Gold Stars by 2 points, Zito appears to have accepted the slim odds. While the title may be out of reach, he insists he's not disappointed with how far the team has come.
I'm never disappointed at all. When you go back and sit down and then watch proceedings, you will know where the failure came. It didn't come from me.
Midiama SC, tipped as one of the favourites at the start of the season, have fallen short of expectations and currently sit 7th on the league table. After winning the title 2 seasons ago, the Takwa-based club struggled early on under former coach Nebochka Kapoor, who was eventually relieved of his duties. Since Ibrahim Tanko took over in January, the team has shown signs of improvement. Looking ahead, Tanko says preparations are already underway to mount a stronger title challenge next season.
I play almost half season apart from the first game. So definitely I know the players now and I know the quality we have. And sure, definitely we are going to, have 1 or 2 additions so that we will be complete. Definitely next season we are going to come all out and if possible and try to win the league because we have what it takes.
It all comes down to this weekend, as Gold Stars and Nations FC gear up for a decisive final showdown. Asante Kotoko remain on the fringes, hoping for a dramatic twist of fate. The big question remains, who will emerge as champions of the Ghana Premier League?
Now let's look at the point differences between the 3 contending teams for the Ghana Premier League title. BBNE Gold Stars are first with 60, Nations FC second with 60, Kotoko third with 58. Now in a very good scenario, Gold Stars just need a win to secure the title. Nations FC would have to win and hope Gold Stars drop points, and Kotoko would have to win and hope both Gold Stars and Nations FC, of course, Gold Stars losing and Nations FC losing to clinch the title as well. Now let's go to the world of tennis, where Coco Gauff won the first French Open singles title of her career by fighting back to beat world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a roller coaster final. The American seed Gauff claimed a 6-7, 5-7, 6-2, 6-4 victory after a tense battle between the WTA Tour's 2 leading players in testing conditions. Gauff, who lost in the 2022 final, settled quicker in a deciding 3rd set to move a breakup and kept her nerve to serve out victory. Now, it is the 2nd Grand Slam singles triumph of Gauff's career, adding to the US Open title she won in 2023, also by beating Sabalenka as well. That's it for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Entertainment is up next.
In entertainment news this evening, high life music icon Najiman says his timeless hit Kwewu Bipo turned his life around. In an interview with 3 Entertainment, the hitmaker singled out Kwewu Bipo as his most successful song, noting that he invested in his career and built a house with proceeds from the evergreen song.
Even if you do not recognize the name Najiman, you would definitely know his music. Since breaking through in the early 2000s, the prolific songwriter has churned out a number of hits. He has also excited music enthusiasts with classics like Araba, Alomo Ketwa, Sugarcane, Kwame Ahe, and many others. In a chart with 3 Entertainment, Najiman named his Easter-themed hit Kwewu Bipo as his best-selling and most successful song.
My biggest song is Kwewu Bipo, Slow Motion, because of the Kwewu Easter. Because I don't know who Easter the whole world.
My biggest song is Kwewu Bipo.
The song is widely sung and echoes in the minds of many, especially during Easter celebration. Easter celebration in Ghana is never complete without Kweubipo.
Every year, we are at slow motion, Kweubipo, slow motion Kweubipo. The meeting, I can say yes, and only the biggest number.
The revered singer noted that he performs the song at multiple live venues and events during Easter.
I spent even 1 week every day. I play
Najiman disclosed that he built a house with proceeds from the timeless hit Kweubipo.
Even I built my own house through this Kweubipo. Because Kweubipo, the mommy gigs programs be pre-bought, you know. I said a lot of things are they met me I through slow motion Kweubipo.
What the idea be na ye mi ama? Ama mi tu ya be dey. Be a phobia. Be a phobia. Be a phobia.
Well, that's your entertainment. Let's now bring you some international news.
China's foreign ministry said on Saturday that Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng will visit the United Kingdom between June 8 and June 13. The first meeting of the China-US Economic and Trade Consultation Mechanism will be held with the United States during this visit. He led the Chinese side in the first round of trade talks in May. President Donald Trump said on Friday that U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Trade Representative Jamison Greer will represent Washington in the talks. The talks come at a fragile moment for the global economy, which has been slowed by uncertainty and supply chain disruptions. The United States in April paused some of the tariffs that President Trump imposed on dozens of countries to provide time for trade negotiations. China says it is willing to accelerate the examination and approval of rare earth exports to European Union firms and will also deliver a verdict on its trade investigation of EU brandy imports by July 5. Price commitment consultations between China and the EU on Chinese-made electric vehicles exported to the EU have also entered a final stage, according to a statement on the Chinese Commerce Ministry's website. However, efforts from both sides are still needed. The comments mark progress on matters that have vexed China's relationship with the EU over the past year. Most recently, China's decision in April to suspend exports of a wide range of rare earths and related magnets have upended the supply chains central to automakers, aerospace manufacturers, semiconductor companies, and military contractors around the world. Sir David Attenborough has told Prince William he is appalled by the damage certain fishing methods are wreaking in the world's oceans. The Prince of Wales interviewed the TV naturalist ahead of a key UN Oceans Conference which kicks off on Monday. The world's countries are gathering for the first time in 3 years to discuss how to better protect the oceans, which are facing growing threats from plastic pollution, climate change and overexploitation.
That's all the news we have for you this evening. Find more on 3news.com. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Noble Crosby Annan. Stay with us here on TV3 because up next is Giovanni Caleb with Showbiz 360. Good evening. Bye-bye.